All right, we're going to work through both of these amortized loan questions, and the individual numbers that you're getting at the beginning should match kind of what we were doing with compound interest. So that part usually isn't the hardest part. The hardest part is taking this insane looking formula and trying to plug it into the calculator correctly. That is by far the hardest part. So we'll try to spend time talking about that if we can. But let's read through the questions, and I'll try to talk about what's different here from the compound interest questions that we were doing last week. So here's the setup. So this is how real car loans, student loans, house payments, mortgages, this is how they usually work typically. All right. So you want to buy a car and it costs $3,500. You have some amount to pay for it. So you have what's called a down payment. You pay a little bit, as much as you can, and then you're going to have to borrow the rest. So the car costs $3,500. You have $350 to pay down, and you're going to have to borrow the rest of the payment. Okay, so the bank or the car dealer is going to loan you the rest. All right, it's an amortized loan. That means you're going to pay it back at the end of the term, 5 years, but you're not going to pay it all back all at once at the end. You're going to pay it month by month over the 5 years, okay? Which is better for you because the interest that's accumulating, you're paying some of it as you go. So if it was gathering interest the whole time and you never paid any off, you'd pay more at the end. But it's annoying. You have to pay a lot every month to keep it from growing too big. Here we go. So it's amortized loan. The mort in there, if you took Spanish or French or anything, that's death. And the word comes from sort of killing the loan. You're paying it off, so it's dead, and then you're done. It's over, okay? Or mortgage, the word mortgage, same thing. It has that mort in there, death. Okay, so amortized loan, you're paying it off as you go. 6% interest, that's pretty high, for 5 years, okay? And you're going to make the payments each month, and it's sort of understood that those periods are going to match the compounding interest. So they're going to charge us interest every month. We're going to pay off a certain amount every month. All right, so how much do those monthly car payments need to be so that at the end of the 5 years, we've paid off the amount we borrowed plus all the interest that's accumulating, okay? And we aim that amount perfectly so that at the end of 5 years, it's paid off. All right, the first amount is how much principal there is. How much did we borrow? So the car cost $3,500. We didn't borrow all that. We paid some, paid a little bit. We paid $350. So our principal amount is $3,150. That's how much we're borrowing. All right, then these next couple match exactly what we did for compound interest. The rate that they're giving us, that 6%, is the annual rate, and we just need to change it to a decimal. So we pay them 6% interest per year, but it's compounded every period, which is every month. So there's 12 periods in a year. That just comes straight from the payments being each month. All right, then what we really care about is the actual periodic interest rate. How much interest are they charging us every month? So it's the annual rate, 0.06, divided by the periods, so 0.06 over 12. And then the term for this one is 5 years. And so what we really care about, this doesn't show up in our formula exactly. What we really care about is how many different payments we're going to make. Or same question, how many periods will they charge us interest? Okay, so it's 12 times a year for 5 years. So that's 12 times 5, which is 60 payments that we need to make, or 60 periods that they're charging us interest. Same exact question. All right, so we need this number, the principal, the amount we borrowed. We need the periodic rate, 0.06 over 12, and we need how many different periods there are in this term of this loan. And then we have this formula right here. All right, so what I'm used to doing when I teach this is putting all of this entire thing into the calculator, because we've got this sweet calculator right here and everybody's got one and it's no problem. That's not true right now, right? I know most of you don't have a good graphing calculator like this that's easy to enter. And so I'm going to first show you that way. If you do, or if you have access to one, you can do that. And then I'll try to tell you what to do if you have just your phone calculator or computer calculator. But this is the formula. Let's just walk through it real quick. So it's a fraction. On top this is the exact compound interest formula, right? So we're still calculating how much interest over the 5 years is gonna grow. So it's the principal times parentheses 1 plus the periodic rate to the nth power. That numerator should look very familiar. It's this denominator that's crazy. And if we had had time, we would have looked at this first when we were doing other things, but we just have to introduce it right here. There's nothing else we can do. And so it really just uses the interest and the periodic rate and the n again, but it's complicated. So in the denominator, you have this new fraction, and it's parentheses 1 plus the periodic rate, the I, to the nth power again. These two match exactly, but minus 1. So you subtract away the principal sort of amount, or this is the annual yield, if you remember that from that formula. But it's 1 plus I to the nth power minus 1, and then all of that is again divided by the interest rate, the periodic rate. And all of that is your denominator of this whole thing. So if you have the calculator, this is what you do. And I've tried to spell it out here with all these parentheses. But what you do is you're going to say parentheses, and then you'll do the principal, 3150, times then 1 plus the periodic rate. And so you can just type this in 06 over 12 to the power, and we're doing 60 different payments. So it's 60. That's all of this that's my numerator. Then divided by, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 different parentheses here. So you have to open up 3 parentheses. 1 plus the interest rate. I should go ahead and write what that is, which is 0.06 over 12. Again to the 60th power. Then minus 1. Then close that parenthesis. That's like this numerator of that denominator. Divided by, and then I need my interest rate in the bottom. And so I'll put another parenthesis, 0.06 over 12, close that parenthesis, and then close this beginning one, and that should be our answer. And if you can type all that into your calculator, it'll spit out, hopefully, $60.90. That's rounded off, but that is the monthly payment you're going to have to make on your car. Okay, so you're going to pay $60.90 every month for 5 years. All right, let me stop here for a second and talk about how to enter this in your calculator if you can't just do it all at once. I think what the smart thing to do would be to plug in and just write down the numbers kind of as you go. So if you do this whole numerator, just 3150, I'll try to write it right here, 3150, 1 plus 0.06 over 12 to the 60th, just see what that equals. Like just enter it, that step only, and write down your answer right here. And then let's do the denominator, and you'll kind of do this numerator again. So you'll do 1 plus I to the nth. You'll kind of do 1 plus 0.06 over 12 to the 60th minus 1. Write that number down here, and then do 0.06 over 12, and maybe write that number down. Okay? And if you can sort of do it one step at a time, then it'll be easier when you need to go through and divide those out. I know it's not great, but this should be the answer you get. And so if you plug those in, hopefully you can get where you need to be. Okay, I'm going, taking too long, so let me go through this real quick. All right, once you have this, you're done all the hard part. The next 2 questions are not challenging. All they're saying is if you pay this much for 60 months, how much total are you paying? So you take the monthly payment, $60.90, and you say I have to pay that 12 months a year for 5 years, right? This is just times my 60 times my n, and you're going to end up paying $3,654. Okay, that's how much, and 0 cents. It comes out perfectly even. All right, so that's the total payment that you've made. And then how much of that was interest? So you take the amount that you had to pay, $36.54, minus the amount that you borrowed, the original principal. Okay, and so you have paid $504 in interest. Okay, it's just this number times 60 gives you the total payment. Total payment minus the principal gives you the amount that you paid total. All right, this is going to be a long one, but let's just go ahead and do the second question. So here we go. So you want to buy a house. It cost $124,500. Again, you got some amount for down payment, so you pay $4,500. And so how much is going to be the total amount that you borrow? So it's $124,500 minus the $4,500. And so your total amount that you're borrowing is $120,000. That's the principal amount that you borrow. Okay? You have an amortized loan. The interest rate is 4.5%. And so we change that to a decimal, 0.045. Periods per year, we're still doing 12 a year. It's monthly. Our interest rate is going to be 0.045 divided by 12, whatever that comes out to be. Our term for this one is 15 years. That's really short for a mortgage, for a house payment, but you get a better rate if you do it for only 15 years. All right, so we're doing 12 payments a year for 15 years. 12 times 15, we're going to make 180 payments. 180 months we're going to pay for this house. All right, here we go. Then we're taking the same formula. I'm using the same steps that I did here, and I'm going to plug in the numbers that I've got. I'm going to try to go through this carefully but quick. So 120,000 times 1 plus my periodic rate, 0.045 over 12 every month, to the 180th. They're going to charge me this for 180 months, divided by, that was all this numerator, divided by 3 parentheses, 1 plus 0.045 over 12 to the 180th, minus 1, close parenthesis, then divided by, one more time, 0.05 over 12, close that, and the beginning parenthesis. And when you do that, this should be your monthly house payment, which is quite a lot. It's a substantial amount of money every month, $917.99. Okay, and if you can get that, these next two, easy. So you pay this amount every month for 15 years. How much are we paying in total? So we said there's 180 payments times this amount, $917.99. And when we're done, we're going to end up paying $165,238.20, which is, obviously that's a lot of money, but you'll own that house completely, and it's probably worth more than that now. Because it's been 15 years, it's probably appreciated in value quite a bit. So that's a great investment if you can get it. All right, last one. Out of this 165, how much was interest? So we take $165,238.20 and we subtract our original principal, $120,000, which is how much we borrowed in the beginning. And of that 165 that we paid, $45,238.20 is interest.